and he had, for years, he had been, like a philanthropist, and he had, funded organizations, that helped battered women or helped children or whatever. And it turns out that he was the biggest pedophile and woman batterer of them all, because that is the essence of the psychopath, a mask. They have a public life and a private life, and that's why we make the distinction between psychopaths and antisocial personalities. In a way, the psychopath is ultimately antisocial, but you will never see it on the outside. It is covert, it is hidden.
Yes.
They truly are.
Absolutely.
Wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, and I think, and whereas that appears to be, like really disheartening information for people to get, I think it's among the most valuable things that you are doing and that you're revealing to people. In other words, it is the fact that the dark side has a face, but it's a face that looks like light. And that, if there's any single thing that I think that you're bringing to the table that is missed in especially, the community, the New Age community, however you want to look at it, that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, because how many people in the New Age community are psychopaths? Because it's wide open, it's
Sure.
unregulated. It's a place where people are looking for answers, they're looking for gurus, they're looking for somebody to lead them, they're looking for, everything that the psychopath says, I could give that to you, I can give you, what just believe in me, just, do whatever, pay me your money, come and
Absolutely.
come to my sessions or whatever. And this is in a sense one of the reasons I've been so reclusive. It's I don't want to go down that path, and it's
So absolutely. Well, we're going to have to wind this up at some point here, but I do want to give you a chance to talk about, for example, one of the things you're doing here is smoking on camera.
Mhm.
And I'd like you to talk about smoking and a little bit more about that, because you have a philosophy about that.
It was more than a philosophy. The Native Americans used tobacco in a sacred sort of way. And the reason they did was because they knew that the use of tobacco helped them connect to their higher self, their inner self, their the ancestors, if you want to call them that, but it helped them to tune in to what was really going on, to see, to perceive. And
but there's a reason for that. There's actually a chemical.
There is actually, because when you smoke tobacco, it mimics acetylcholine, which is the neurotransmitter that is produced by thinking. By the act of thinking. It's also produced by other activities, but this is one of the main things it does. And it also stabilizes your parasympathetic nervous system, because when you stimulate the vagus nerve, which is one of the things that I teach in my breathing program, it also causes the body to produce acetylcholine, which puts you in a state of calm alertness, stabilizes you, relieves your stress. So, what is more natural for the powers that be to do than to deprive us of one of our, most convenient and useful tools? It's like, they made a movie about The Exorcist. They took, Ouija boards away, because everybody's scared of that, and they made them it's always parallel.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
They terrified people of ever using a Ouija board. Now everybody's going around saying, Ouija boards, oh my God, and it haunted, and I burned it because when I used it, there were all kinds of things happening. And then the same thing with tobacco. The campaign and the lies about tobacco. Now, let me say right up front that the chemicals that are put in to many cigarettes, if not most of them, burning agents and so forth, that they put in to make them, to flavor them or to make them burn longer, some of the things in the papers. Those things are definitely evil. But let me tell you what, the worst thing you get from smoking a cigarette is a teeny tiny amount of cadmium. Yes, cadmium is a carcinogen, but you know what? You get more cadmium riding in your car to the supermarket, breathing the air outside, than you get from smoking cigarettes. And if you read the book, Detoxify or Die by Sherry Rogers, which is a great book, she's compiled a lot of great evidence You know, you'll notice that she does mention it, but she mentions in passing, en passant, that the amount of toxicity that you get from a cigarette is so small compared to what you're getting from your food, from the exudate from your carpets, from your clothes, from using plastic cookware, from using Teflon, from the air, from the combustion engines on the road, from factories. You know, just about everything in your environment is totally deadly and poisonous, not to mention the gender bender chemicals that are in plastics, the mercury that's in vaccination.
Also, we have to talk about the mind. You know, the role of...
All those things are poisoning your mind.
The way people are thinking is also what creates disease, because that's what we get to the root of what causes, for example, cancer.
Well, what changes your thinking? Your chemistry. What changes your chemistry? What you put in your body. And let's face it, we can't avoid, we cannot, we did not evolve in an environment that was as toxic as the one we live in. And the toxins that are out there, our systems cannot keep up with it. Everybody is a little bit different. Some people have better detox systems, the liver, the kidneys are your detox system. And some people have very sensitive ones. Did you know that there's, what is it? It's 40 million? 40 million people in the United States suffer from autoimmune diseases that are caused by chemical toxicity from clothing, paint, preservatives, pesticides, household cleaners, whenever you clean anything. I mean, it's really, look at my video on the topic and you'll see that, that this is just an incredible problem. Okay. So it's handy to have a scapegoat. Cigarettes are the scapegoat. If you're sick, it's because of cigarettes. Okay, well, most people stop smoking. Okay, it's secondhand smoke. Okay, it's thirdhand smoke. Pretty soon it's going to be, you're going to get sick and die from imaginary smoke. Now, I mean, it's going to be like terrorism. We got to go and kill those people because they might think about becoming terrorists at some point. So the whole thing is that neurochemistry is a very delicately balanced thing, and it can be balanced if you're in a situation where your fight or flight mechanism is turned on continuously, repeatedly, because you're afraid. People are so stressed. I mean, depression is a killer. People are dying of depression. Look at the number of people in the United States that are on antidepressants. People that are going off and shooting and killing their families or their friends or whatever. This is a serious problem. And it's because of, because people are not smoking. They don't have outlets. They don't have anything to help them balance this other toxicity. Because at least if you're in a toxic state and you're toxified from having been outside, you went into a Walmart, which is so loaded with chemicals, you should drop dead upon walking in the door.
Absolutely.
And you get out of there and you light a cigarette, and the cigarette gives you enough acetylcholine to stabilize your brain so that you don't fall over dead and you can get your detox system going. But they've deprived you of that. Mm-hmm. They've deprived people of nearly everything that could help them to stabilize or deal with the environment. And not only that, but they're poisoning their food.
Well, and then we're not even talking about chemtrails here.
Don't even go there. I mean, we're talking about what's in the everyday food, the everyday water, your dental amalgams,
well, also with the, electromagnetic
radiation. The worst thing, the absolute worst thing, the microwave radiation from yourself. People are walking around with these things stuck, and there are oncologists who will not use cell phones because they know that they cause brain cancer. They won't let their children use them, but they won't make a statement against them publicly, because if they did, the medical establishment, which is owned and run by psychopaths, would destroy their careers.
Sure. Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
I mean, everywhere you look, you see the evidence of pathology and control. You see the evidence of of normal human beings being beaten down, controlled, everything taken away from them. Now they're taking their homes away from them. They're taking their money away from them. They're taking away your right to privacy. You got to go and show yourself naked, to go get on an airplane. I mean, it is the lizard's drive for total control that is manifesting in these pathological people on our planet. And if you think aliens are the problem, okay, yeah, maybe they are. But who needs aliens when we got psychopaths to deal with?
Okay, Laura, any last minute sort of, because we do need to wind this up, and it's been fabulous, and I really value and appreciate your insight, your willingness to have such an open mind, and your willingness to speak outright about it and truthfully. And I think that this is something that we need more of, okay? And so that's why I've asked you to come forward today. But is there anything else that, why don't you talk a little bit about, what you're going to be packaging into DVDs for people, and then give your websites.
We've already done, we've got this breathing program, but we've got people who are going to be teaching the breathing program, because one of the techniques really is a little bit tricky, and even though I teach it on the video and I go into it, in several ways, approaching it so that you can get, a complete picture of how to do this breathing program, it still really is good to have a teacher, and we're having the teachers coming here, and this is a breathing technique that I developed, and it's the one I used that took me very quickly into these really amazing meditative experiences, and really kind of brought on the shamanic initiation, and the seeds were kind of the result of this breathing program, if you really get back to it. So we've got that kind of packaged up. We're going to be making a version of it that we're going to try to distribute as cheaply as possible, if not free. If we can get enough financial support, we're going to distribute it to soldiers. Come on, let's face it, if people start getting in touch with their higher selves, if they start breathing properly and learning how to stimulate the vagus nerve and get acetylcholine in their bodies, if they start learning how to do some of these things, they're going to be able to become more understanding of one another, and they're going to be able to get together with one another, and they're going to be able to see things shamanically that they could not see before. And they're going to be able to see where the real enemy is,
For sure. And discern truth.
Discern truth. It is a program that definitely will bump up your discernment levels, rapidly. We've got people that have been doing it now since the summer, and some of them had almost immediate results. Some of them have taken a little longer, but every single one is having, gradual, incremental improvements in not only how they cope with their lives, but they're having these wonderful, these marvelous experiences with their own selves, with their own higher selves. Mm-hmm. And it's really a beautiful thing to see.
What I would like to tap into here at the very end is talking about what we're looking at in the near future in terms of what's set before you, why you're doing what you're doing right now, because we're actually talking about a transition in which getting into that place of higher consciousness is so important.
It is important, because the C's have said that yes, we're coming up on what they call the wave. They've been talking about the wave since 1994. Okay, so we've been talking about this and publishing this, and and other people have picked up these terms, and they, whatever. But anyhow, we've been talking about it since 1994. And the thing is it is kind of like a macrocosmic quantum wave collapse. And the reality on the other side of this collapse is going to depend upon the state in which humanity is in. We need a large number, a huge number of people who are in the right state of being able to see. It's not where you are that matters when this happens. It's who you are and what you see. Who you are means, are you sold? And what you see means, can you really see the energies? And that's what this program is really designed to do. It's to take people to that state of being able to be in touch with their own higher self their own me in the future,